Welcome to the Cold Blooded Caffeine podcast. I'm your host, Trey.
And I am McKendrick.
All right. And so we thought today we would take the opportunity to kind of rewind things a little bit. So we recently crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark on Instagram, which has been a long time goal for us. Yeah. All right. So
all the people love us.
All the people love us. All 1,000 and something.
Yeah, all 1,000.
So we thought it would be nice to maybe just take a minute and reintroduce ourselves.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is
McKendrick, and I am co-owner of Cold Blooded Caffeine.
Ooh, that was bad.
But no, I think it's a good idea. You know, it's been a lot of new followers over the last several months. So some of them.
I don't even know if we ever did an introduction episode. I mean, we kind of like eased it. So like the beginning people were either family or friends or, you know, people that already knew us a little bit. I don't know if we ever like told our backgrounds. Really.
No, I don't think so. We talked about like pieces. Our work history a little bit, stuff like that. So allow us to reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah. So McKendrick, you want to go first?
Sure. Wow. Where do I begin here? So,
where are you from?
I am originally from Augusta, Georgia. I have two siblings that are both entrepreneurs as well. Ryan out of Atlanta does a basil me lemonade. He's actually worked with us at a couple of functions.
It's really good lemonade.
Yeah, really good lemonade. Definitely check him out. I don't remember. Is it basilme.com? I don't know, but I will find out.
Okay.
And make sure I plug it in the comments.
Okay.
And then my youngest brother actually does a multitude of things, but one of the core things he does is actually paint and wrap cars. Yeah. So he does that in Augusta, Georgia, which is actually where I'm originally from. That's where I came from before moving to Charleston, South Carolina. So family of entrepreneurs, man. Like, Dad raised us right to go out and figure out how to make it happen.
It was destiny, right?
It was destiny.
You fought it for a little while though. So
I did.
What was your career? Well, actually, so you went to school.
Yep. So the irony is, my degree is in mathematics. So, you know, Albany State University, Golden Rams. Shout out to all my Golden Ram family out there. Ended up getting a degree in mathematics. So by trade, I'm a mathematician, which you would think that I would be better with like accounting and numbers and the financials, which I'm not bad.
You're better than me,
but that's
not saying a lot.
There's just a lot of detail within accounting that just goes beyond just, you know, your basic math. Mm-hmm. So although the math I took, guess, you know, it was something to a much higher level than most people can even imagine, because at some point there's not even numbers anymore, right? It's topological equations and things of that nature that
don't get all fancy on us over here. We're a coffee podcast, all right?
Okay, sorry. Let's go back. So yes,
so you went to school.
I went to school. I have a degree. I put that degree to work in the manufacturing sector. And I did that for many years, working at different places in Augusta and moving to Charleston, 2010, 2011, and working for about 3 or 4 places here before I really got snatched up by trade to really do this entrepreneur thing. It's always been something that's there, just never took that leap. And, you know, as fate would have it, some things changed with my job, where the last place I worked was actually warehouse. It was in distribution. It was the biggest one that I had managed, 500,000 square feet. And I worked to get it off the ground, literally from the ground up, built my leadership team. But as fate would have it, the sales just weren't there. They didn't do a good enough job of really predicting what the distribution of furniture would be on the East Coast coming from LA. And it was right at the time we had started the business, but I wasn't in it full time yet. Trey was, or transitioning to full time.
Right.
And I was basically watching him do it by himself while I'm trying to stand up this brand new facility. And it just got to the point where it just didn't make sense. I was spending, 12, 14 hours trying my best to get this place, off the ground and started. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I could be doing some of this for myself. Like if I'm committing 12 to 14 hours for someone else, why can't I do it for myself in my own business?
And I think for you, and not speaking for you, but I think it was a critical moment that you realized you could do it for yourself, right? You did it essentially with somebody else's money, but you did it all the work to essentially start a business.
Yep. And even shout out to my son. So he actually got the entrepreneurial spirit as well. So we almost stepped into this space at the same time. He was finishing up school at Coastal Carolina University and came back to Charleston and decided to open a multimedia studio downtown. So shout out to Young Fly Lords, YFL multimedia studio downtown, does a lot of art exhibitions, music, podcast, showcasing hidden spaces is kind of his staple that he's done here within Charleston. So he got that entrepreneurial spirit as well. So we've been kind of motivating each other in this space over the last, 2 to 3 years. It's been a good ride.
You got one other kid that blows everybody else out the water, right?
I do. Yeah. I don't like mentioning her because she makes us all look bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So, I have a daughter as well. She's at Howard University. Technically this is her 3rd year, but also her last year because she's taken advanced classes going all the way back to high school. She took some summer classes. She's done internships.
So how old is she?
She is 21 years old,
and she's going to
graduating in May of 2024.
I graduated on time, and I was 23.
Yeah, I was way behind. But there were some circumstances.
Circumstances.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what happened.
I had some bad influences.
That math.
Yeah.
That math just didn't add up.
The math wasn't mathing back then. It wasn't mathing back then at all. But she has definitely been very focused. She's studying political science, wants to get into, wants to be a lawyer actually. So she's about to start studying for her LSAT so she can take the test next fall. So she'll take a little bit of time off just to study and prepare, but she's definitely out there doing her thing. So I don't want to talk about her anymore. She makes me look bad.
And what hobbies or anything that you get into outside of work?
Yeah, so one thing that has somewhat followed me everywhere is connecting with kids and mentoring. So I started doing some work in that space. Probably as I entered into the workforce for a company called Junior Achievement, which the irony there, guess what they taught? Entrepreneurship. Go figure. So I did that for a few years. I did some stuff within the church back at home in Augusta. And then when I came to Charleston, I actually got connected with the founder of the program that I'm currently supporting, which is Low Country Youth Services and Distinguished Gentlemen's Club. Again, my son Akil founded at Hanahan Middle School. Yep, Hanahan Middle School. Brought it home, did some research on it, met the founder, connected with him, and it's been history. So I've been doing that for a little over 10 years in Charleston, supporting kids. And we've pushed well over 1,000 kids through the program over the years. So outside of coffee, that consumes a pretty significant amount of my time.
And what other free time? What do you do with all the other excess of free time that you have?
I can't. It's too much, man. It's too much. I did want to stay connected to the industry of supply chain management. So I still do some consulting in the logistics area a little bit. So working with my folks out of Atlanta and Augusta. So shout out to Got to Go Logistics. Appreciate the connection there. We've been working together for the last few years. So I've been doing a good bit of consulting and really pushing hard to kind of make the right connections to people who are looking to, do logistics work out of Charleston, South Carolina. So if you're looking for some connections, I may be your guy. I may not.
Just don't ask to go out to dinner with him because he doesn't have any free time.
I don't have free time. I have zero free time. So yeah, that. I mean, there's other things too, but I mean, as you can imagine, those three are like, you know.
They're three full-time jobs that you're wrapped up in
right, and trying to make it work, right? Yeah. But it's fun. I mean, it's all things that I enjoy, so that's really what makes it all worth it for me. So,
yep.
But yeah, so that's me. That's a little bit about McKendrick and his background. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It's good stuff, man. Good
Kids,
stuff.
Where you from?
Kids from
school.
All that great stuff.
Okay.
So now. Introducing, I should hit a button. Which one? Was this?
The drink one.
This one. This one.
We don't use those.
This one. I don't know.
Pick one. I don't know if that works. Okay, that's it. There we go. Okay, so, Trey. A little bit about me. So my name's not Trey.
Yeah, let's
start with that. My name is James. I'm the third. We're going way back.
We're going way back
to the beginning. So I am the third. That's where Trey comes from. Please don't call me James, Jim, or Jimmy. My name is Trey.
His name is Trey.
I grew up in a really small town, about an hour outside of Charleston, the greater Charleston area. It's called Smokes. That's Smoaks. Like the name, not like the smoke from the fire.
Or like 420. Not like
no,
that smoke
not
either?
like 420. No,
okay.
No.
Different smoke.
Different smoke. Yeah, I grew up on a farm. Primarily, when I was growing up, it was a timber farm, but they did some agriculture and like beef cattle and things like that before. When I was very young, and even before I was born, my grandparents and my parents still live there. That's actually where we started our roasting journey.
Yep.
So we first put the roaster out there. We've talked about it a little bit in the past about getting started with the roastery and having some family connections where we could put the roastery to begin with. So we did that.
Shout out to Nana, those fresh made.
Shout out to Nana.
Buttermilk biscuits.
Yeah, it's Christmas time. I'm going to be going over there again at Christmas time. I'll bring you one back. Don't worry.
So jealous.
Yeah, so I grew up in Smokes, went to high school in Walterboro, South Carolina. That was kind of the biggest town near where I grew up. In high school, I didn't mostly played sports. So like growing up in a really small town, there wasn't a lot of like extracurriculars outside of sports. So it was football, basketball, and baseball all through high school. And then when I went to college, I went to Charleston Southern University here in North Charleston. And my major was in business management, which is absolutely relevant to what we do, not like math. That has not quite come up as valuable yet.
There's been some math situations.
There's been some maths that
I've contributed to.
Yeah, so my degree, my undergrad is in business management or business administration with an emphasis in management. I have one son. His name is Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin.
Shout out to big Kevin. Yesterday was his birthday. He's 8 years old. Yeah. And if you want to learn more about Kevin's story, we did an episode. I did an episode on Kevin a couple months back. So check out our Hungry Trip recap video if you're interested to hear more about that. I'm not going to go into detail about it here. Also, my wife, her name's Becky. We've been married for 11. Coming up on 12. Yeah, this year will be 12, 24, 12. Yeah, 12 years. Whew. Where's the math?
I said 11.
Where's the math?
11.
Okay. No, so we've been married for 11 years, going on 12 years this May. She is a software developer by trade.
Yeah, she's done a little something for us. Well, mainly for you.
She has covered my butt. Yeah,
when
she's covered my butt a couple of times.
Failed with trying to.
She tends to let me flail about for a little bit before she helps me out, which is good because I get to learn a little bit about everything. But like, she helped us get the website up off the ground and everything. I manage it now, but she's been a big help to us with that. It's nice to have her and her expertise around. So when I graduated from college, and Becky and I got married, I was working in So my degree was in business management, but I started working in manufacturing really because it was the only job that I could find at the time. So Becky and I got married in May of 2012. I graduated from college in July of 2011. So I knew that I had to find a job that could support a family in 9 months, and that job just happened to be in manufacturing. It was never a goal of mine to work in manufacturing. And then 12 years later, or 10 years later, I was still there. And that was kind of the catalyst of...
That's how manufacturing is, man. It just grabs you and holds you, man.
Yeah, it was
but it also burned you out. You got to be careful.
So after about 10 years of that, 2 different companies, the same thing every day. It's tough. It was tough. So that's kind of... I remember as a kid... when everyone asked, what did you want to do when you grow, like, okay, you're going to graduate college and grow up, and
right.
and everyone asked me what I wanted to do, and it was always start my own business. And it was always that vague. Like, it was never like, I want to start a business doing X, right? It was just, I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. I think at one point I said that I wanted to open a restaurant. Like, there was like actually a newspaper I almost said magazine, article that went, I can't remember what it was for, but it was like some kind of like a interview with like a local, I don't know, like scholar athletes or something like that. Okay. And it was like, what do you want to be when you're going to college? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I think I said that I wanted to open a restaurant in Smokes, which is hilarious because Smokes has 50 people. So
they all ate there every day.
Obviously. One, I don't particularly care to be in the restaurant industry. That's pretty difficult job to begin to be in anyway, to break into. So, learned over time that that's probably not the industry that I want to go into. Even though we are kind of in food service, we still
a little bit, yeah.
We're a little bit different than that. And also, I realized that opening a restaurant in Smokes probably wasn't going to be as lucrative as my teenage brain had previously thought it was going to be.
But that was home, right?
But that was home, yeah. So I didn't really know anything outside of that. So once I went to college and figured out some things, I realized that I would probably end up staying in a more suburban area as opposed to going back to Smokes. Not that I haven't ever thought about going back. I really enjoy where I grew up, but there's not a lot of employment opportunities in that area. So
there's no Uber. You don't need.
There's no Uber. I don't think you can call an Uber. I've never tried. They may pick you up on a tractor,
or they may take an hour to get there. Or they may take an hour to get there,
and it'll cost you $120 or something crazy, right? Probably not. But it's kind of always been in the back of my mind, even though both of my parents have been very, very supportive of everything that I've wanted to do, but neither one was entrepreneurial. So I think, I have a brother as well, and he is not entrepreneurial either. But all of my family are very smart and have been very successful in their careers. My brother like your daughter is the overachieving one. My brother is the overachieving one, and I hope he doesn't hear this because I don't want to make him think that I'm bragging on him. I'm actually insulting him. He just doesn't know it because he's smart, but not like street smart, like. No, I'm just kidding.
You're going to hear about this at Christmas dinner.
Yeah, probably. But my brother is a biomedical undergrad, mechanical engineering master's degree. So
that's just too much.
You could have done one and it would have been pretentious, but you had to do both. And you had to start with the biomedical.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're just making us all look bad.
Just making us look bad, man.
So I have a business degree. What you gonna do? You're gonna do 2 engineering degrees?
Probably.
Jerk. Right?
Announce it at Christmas dinner. Right. Guess what, family?
Yeah. And he went to Clemson. God, man. Of all the insults, it had to be Clemson. I know I'm going to get comments about this, so I'm just going to go ahead and say Spurs up, go Gamecocks. I'm just going to put that out there into the world. Even though we've had a rough period here in the last couple of months, So, I think, that's pretty much it for me. It's just my wife and my son and I. We live in Somerville, we're maybe about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes from
the site,
from the shop. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, that's it. I've always been, maybe I should say, I've always been the one that's been the coffee nut. So that's kind of where it started from. So when we were looking at business ideas and literally looking at every business idea, we both had gotten to the point in our careers within corporate America where we just wanted out. And you had actually departed from the company that we worked with together.
Right.
We had started kind of did we start before you left to go to the warehouse company, or I don't remember when
I think we made the investment.
Okay.
I think we had invested. That was fourth quarter of 21.
Because we incorporated the business in August 21.
Yeah. So that fourth quarter is when we invested in all the equipment. But I was still working at the warehouse. Yes.
At the warehouse, but not together.
No, not together.
So we had made the decision while we were still working together that we wanted to do coffee, because we had been going.
Yeah, we whiteboarded it at the. Yeah. That's right. That has to be right.
Did we whiteboard it at work?
At work, yeah.
Oops. My bad. Oh goodness, bad.
Made a few phone calls there too as well.
My
I
bad.
remember that.
Okay.
But yeah. So that was the time when.
But yeah, so the idea came to me about the coffee because I was always the one that was into coffee and everything. So and have been for quite some time. A funny story. My first foray into coffee. Funny story, and then we'll kind of wrap up here.
Yep.
So funny story. My first foray into coffee was like early on as a kid. I loved going over to my grandma Nana's house because she would always let me have coffee when my parents weren't around. So she would let me sneak coffee, and so that was kind of like a nostalgic thing. Growing up, like I always liked coffee because it was something that I couldn't have as a kid, of course.
Right.
And then as I grew up, it was something that I wanted because it reminded me of being a kid. But my first time kind of pushing into black coffee, which is all I really drink now. I'll drink like a latte or milk coffee every once in a while, but mostly black coffee. I actually was dating a girl that only drank black coffee, and she like humiliated me into drinking the black coffee because I was putting cream and sugar and everything in my coffee. And she was like, "What are you doing? Are you a wimp or something? And you got to drink black coffee." So I hated it, right? And black coffee is an acquired taste for most people. But I had to suck it up and drink black coffee. And I did it until I like it. And now, years later, that was not my wife. So don't be like causing drama or anything, saying my wife manipulates me.
Somebody gonna be all in the comments saying, we need to find who this woman was. She's the real reason why we got this business.
Good luck. I don't think there's any like ties. Like, there's no social media strings, no nothing.
Nah.
Not that there's wish her well and everything, but that was very, very, very many years ago. And before. Oh gosh, I think we might have been friends on MySpace.
Wow,
that was before Facebook. I think it was a long time ago. There you go. Date myself for the day.
There you go. MySpace.
Yeah. Whew. So that's us.
That is us, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's probably way more than you ever cared to know. Not that anyone asked. Okay, let's just be clear. We have volunteered this information.
1,000 followers. We've never really done this type of introduction to kind of say and show who we are. So I think it's good and good timing.
Yeah, I think so too. So we'll be back on with some coffee related conversations next time. But we hope you enjoyed getting to know us a little bit better. And
getting to know us. They didn't know I could sing. Oh, and by the way, I cannot sing.
I was about to say that.
And on that note,
these microphones do make me sound real good. It makes you feel like you can sing.
Yeah,
but
I can drop
probably one. You might get one in.
This is the one that my kids hate. Do do do.
This has been the Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast. Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast is brought to you by none other than Cold Blooded Caffeine. Oh my goodness, we're doing it again. Go back around. This has been the Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast. I don't know what to say. Cold Blooded Caffeine Podcast is brought to you by Cold Blooded Caffeine, your source for high-quality, small-batch specialty coffee with a wildlife conservation mindset.
Yeah.
Check us out today at coldbloodedcaffeine.com. I pulled it back together. You see that?
I see. Good job.
Also brought to you by the Coffee Run Coffee Delivery Service, your low country's premier source for coffee and coffee delivery. Check us out at coffeerundelivery.com. We will check you next time.
Out.